What's up, guys? So we're going to do something a little different here and talk about the worst card in Brave Frontier versus the absolute worst card. There is no card worse than this card, and it's actually a mythic, which is hilarious. So Nature God Lance. No card is worse than this card. There is no card that you could put into a deck that would be worse than this card in your deck. This card is god awful, and it's a mythic, which is crazy. Some people actually think this card is good. Some people think, oh my god, I got my Lance up to 3000 HP, 3000 attack. It's good. No. You played against an opponent that sucked, that let you get your Lance up really, really, really high, and you won because they sucked, not necessarily because you put a Lance on the field. Alright, so let's talk about the card. So the card has very, very bad stats, which is the reason that it is so. So we put it all the way up to premium. It has a extra grade. Mythic cards have a grade above parallel. So parallel and premium now is the max rarity for the mythic card. So at parallel or at premium status, the highest status you can get, it's 840 health and 560 attack with a speed of 6. So the stats itself aren't the worst thing, okay? But the speed, it's damn near the slowest card in the game. I think there's one or two cards that are slower than this, or maybe not, right? This is either the slowest card in the game or like the second slowest card in the game, which is terrible, right? Speed is the most important stat. Second, the ability that it has is growth infinite. So it means every turn you're going to grow, which means it's going to gain the HP stats and the attack stats, the base stats. So every turn, but here's where it starts to suck. Growth does not happen on the first turn that it's put onto the field. So the first turn, you're completely wasted at 840, 560, and you cost 7. This is the kicker right here. The cost of the card is terrible. So if you put him down, the earliest you can put him down is on turn 2. So if you put him down on turn 2, you make your deck all about Lance. You put him down turn 2, foregoing everything else. He's now going to grow to approximately around 3,500 health and around 2,500 attack by turn 5. So it sounds pretty good, right? But you built your entire deck around this. You put him down on turn 2, and now he's snowballing and he's growing, right? By the time that you get to turn 5, you're going to be dead. That's the thing, right? So his stats are huge. His stats are amazing. 3,500, 2,500 attack, but 6 speed, which means every single unit that your opponent has is going to be attacking before this card. The only way that you can actually kind of combat this a little bit is if you use his Brave Burst to go first. But again, anyone else's Brave Burst is going to go before you. And on top of that, since you paid 7 to put this card down on turn 2, you don't have a lot of other units. So the only way you could really do this, right, is on turn 1 is you could put down like a tree, or you could put down a mana generation, or you could put down a bard, something like that to get extra energy. You could put down a bunch of ones. So the absolute best way to start out with Lance would be like 2 bards and a tree maybe. So you have a lot of extra energy so you can play other cards also. Because the problem with his special is that since he costs so much, you're not going to get the attacks needed in to generate your special. You need to have a lot of other little units so that they can attack and they can generate the special. But unfortunately, so the tree has a mediocre speed of around like 33, I want to say, or 23, somewhere around there. The tree is a very average. It gets outspeeded by a lot. The bard, for a 1, has 39 speed, and that's decent, but it can get killed by several other 1 costing and possibly even 2 costing cards before it even attacks, because the stats on the board are very low. So, best case scenario, you get this thing to 35, 25. But wait, there's more. So this card is so bad that in Earth, they actually gave it special cards that work specifically with that card, right? So they made a searcher. They have a 4-drop searcher that pulls a 7-cost ally from the deck. So this card can get you any 7-cost card because Earth needs help, right? You need to get this big Lance guy on the field as soon as possible. And then, so the tree has 32 speed. Okay, then they also have this other card. Let's see what booster pack that one is in. They have this card. So a 6-cost that it says at the start of the battle phase, you're going to activate growth for 1 time that has an ally. So they gave this mythic other cards to support it and try to make it playable. Because on its own, it's not playable. Like, you're going to lose the game before turn 5 against any decent player. And then, so unfortunately, this card right here is also terrible. It's a 6-costing card. So if you have this card and Lance in your deck is incredibly cost heavy. And in order to get both of these cards down, you're spending 13 energy to get these cards down. And this card also has a terrible speed stat, which means most likely he's going to be dead before he even attacks. So if you put down Lance and you put down this guy, yes, Lance is going to grow again, get a little bit bigger, but most likely these 2 units are going to die. They might be able to get 1 hit in before they die, but you spent 13 energy to get 1 attack in, and your units just died. And now you're dead on turn 4, maybe even dead on turn 3. Right? So this is why Lance is so terrible, is that the game is over before you get to turn 5 when you're playing Lance. And that's if you have the best Lance, right? The premium one. So most people that have the standard Lance is a 540-350. So just the basic Lance that you get most likely out of the booster pack, the stats are so bad. 540-350. It's actually even worse than another green card. It's worse than this 4-costing Elijah. So 390-270 on the standard stats, but you can raise it all the way up to 470-310, and it has growth 2 on it. So this card is really good. And then on top of that, the manifest on this card, the stats become better than the mythic card that costs 7. And let's not even look into the manifest of the mythic, because the mythic manifest is terrible. So this card, if you play it on turn 3, by turn 5 will grow to 3,000 and 1,800 attack. This card is incredibly good. This is probably the best card to get on manifest turn 3 and to play on turn 3. Lance, if you go into, let's go back to premium here, and now we'll put him up into his manifest. So look at his manifest. His manifest for 1 extra energy, now he costs 8, goes to 990 and 670. The stats are so terrible on this card. So those are the main reasons why this card is the worst card in the game. You could literally put any other card in decks and have a better win rate than having a deck with Lance in it. Yes, you can win a game with Lance. Again, if your opponent is terrible and they don't know what they're doing and they don't have a good deck at all and they don't know positionings and they don't know how to play the game, you can win a game with Lance. Other than that, if you're playing against someone that knows what they're doing, that has a decent deck at all, this card is absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Now the thing is, I don't know if they're going to nerf or buff any cards at all in the game. If they do anything at all, the only card that I would say they should adjust is this card right here, because this card is terrible. So the ideas here would be to actually decrease the cost of this card, maybe down to 6 or 5 even. If this card cost 5, it would be playable. At 6, maybe. Don't know, maybe. But at 5, this card is definitely playable and has a slot and has a deck, and you could actually see it in the game. But at 6, maybe. Yes, no, maybe so, we don't know. 6, it might be playable. 5, it's definitely playable, and you definitely would be playing this, because at 5, if this card costs 5, that means you could put this card down turn 1. And turn 1 with 5 gross, or 4 gross, since you don't get the first one, that would put this card at maximum level. Let's see, let's go back to max level. So you're going to get 4 of those, 32, 4. So it puts him around 4,000 HP and around 2,500 attack. So if you could play this card turn 1, he would be a monster by turn 5. And he wouldn't be that weak on turn 2 or turn 3. So on turn 2, he's already 1,600s. And then turn 3 is 2,400. So if this card cost 5, he might be too good, right? He might be too good. But again, the speed is so low, I think that's where he would be. I am not for nerfing or buffing many cards, but this card, I think, could go down to 6. At 6, I think this would be a playable card. I think it would be decent. And I think there might need to be other game modes where he's actually good in. But yes, this card is terrible. You do not see him being played at all in the top ranks. You don't see anyone trying. Like, I've tried to make this card work. I played with him in the lower ranks. He was the mythic that I pulled in the game. And yeah, in the beginning, you're like, oh, he's cool. I can grow him. I can make him bigger. I can play with the other units that tie together, but he's just terrible. Once you understand game theory, once you understand cards and stats and gameplay and speed and positioning and everything like that, he is just terrible. So let me know how I'm wrong in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, guys. I will talk to you guys later.